good evening. This is sort of an impromptu live stream. If you see this, welcome. If not, no worries. It literally just popped up in YouTube. I'm gonna tweet out that we're live. My original plan... let's just make sure I'm not streaming the sound here. Okay, yeah, so the original plan was just to make a final thoughts video. But then I've had other plans and other things to do today. And I thought, why not just watch FP2 and do the final thoughts for the week then, and then people can go back and watch it if they want to in hindsight. So there's gonna be no edits. I'm just gonna sit here. We're gonna watch the dashboard, these beautiful little dots turn around, and we're gonna talk some F1 fantasy. So let me get everything set up, tweet out that we are live, and should be fun. So if you have any questions regarding my final thoughts for the race weekend, let me know in the comments. And you could do so after the fact as well. So if you're watching this 2 hours from now, feel free to ask questions in the comment section. I'll go back and respond. So let me just tweet this out. Live for FP2 watch along and final thoughts before the live stream tomorrow. Come in and ask some questions if you have any. And Saudi GP link. I should post this in the thing. F1 dash syncing, sure. Let me get... Hello! Scrolling my phone and disappeared. Are you gonna do teams? We are going to... now, team submission is tomorrow. So team submissions are tomorrow. But yeah, this is a real problem. We should keep our eyes on Alpine. We should keep our eyes on Alpine for sure. For sure. Let me get the actual stream up here. Alright, so I mean I have this as well. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. We can do this. And let me log into my F1 account real quick. Fantasy. Manage team. There we go. Alright. Perfect. So we have this, and we have this. I need to try and have everything visible here. Does Bortoletto leak and missing whole FP2 put you off of him? Slightly, yes. It's definitely not in his favor, that's for sure. Side that this is the most amazing looking track from helicopter shot at night on TV. Yeah, it's real good actually. But yeah, so this is my team if you don't remember. And final thoughts is just that the meta is going to remain the same for this week. Though I do think some people will Limitless, which I don't think is bad. I think Limitless could be good here. It's just I'm slightly scared of the walls and potential safety car shenanigans. But yeah, Alpine. I don't know where Alpine's found their pace, but I think those of you keeping Duan shouldn't be worried actually. For me, on this team, the question still remains: Hajar, Duan, or Duan, Bortoletto, or Alonso is the question still. Crazy lockup there by is it Kimi? I think it's Kimi. That is lockup. All right, let's think of maybe going Alonso instead of Bortoletto. Yeah, so my main thing is just who fills this final role, and I don't know if it's due on Bortoleto or Alonso. Thoughts on Ocon to Gasly? I think it's decent, but the problem with it... Let's get up this. The problem with Ocon to Gasly is that Ocon and Gasly are like the same price, right? And Ocon has a better round 4 in the back. So even next race, if they score similarly, like Ocon looks better than Gasly. It's just if Gasly's like actually up there on P6 type points again, because I don't think Ocon is doing a P14 to a P8, or what was it? Was it P8? I think it was P8. I don't think Ocon is doing a P14 to a P8 again. At least on this track, right? So I actually don't hate it, because Gasly could score 13 points here with the same race that he did in Bahrain, whereas like Ocon is not getting the same race. Oh, what happened here? Oh no. Oh no. Oh. More people stuck. Piastri just did a great job there. That's so funny. I am... This is mine, yeah, so I'm on 52.26. It's just people not completing the turn. Both the Williams, I didn't see which Williams it was, and then Nico Hülkenberg didn't get out of the pits, and then Piastri made fun of them. I'm curious, though, about Ferrari. I think Ferrari could be interesting. I don't think I can. I'm pretty sure I can. I can't afford it without taking a minus 10, so I'm not doing it. But it's definitely like an option for me in Miami, right? If I go for Bortoleto here, like I just need some budget, and then I either without Ocon or whatever, and I can have McLaren Ferrari. Williams look decently fast as well. It looks like it's just Alpine and Williams that are going to fight for the points for the rest of the weekend. What's the Limitless then? I tweeted about it just before this that I do think I'm watching FP2 a lot, but there's not that much happening, so I'm going to discuss what I want to discuss in like a final thoughts type of video. The Limitless is yellow flag, never mind. That's an Aston Martin. He's spun around. He's fine, I think. I think it's Stroll. Yeah, that just enforces that I want to sell Stroll. He's crashed both the last 2 years on this track. Anyway, what I was saying was that Red Bull looks like they're struggling again. Obviously, right now in FP2, there's Verstappen's third, but it's early in FP2. Is the optimal Limitless McLaren, like triple McLaren, triple Ferrari plus Russell, and you avoid Max? Yeah, Stroll, what a surprise. He should count himself lucky there that he did not end up in a wall. It's a decent place to spin out, if anything. Whoa. Albon nearly smashed into the Ferrari there as well. I think Max over Lewis. I think I agree. I think going without Max Verstappen seems crazy, but like there's definitely a conversation to be had about it. So it would be something like this plus Russell, and then you go McLaren Ferrari. I think that could be decent. I am considering doing Limitless on my other team, where I have a decent budget building team in the back. On my main team, it's not even a consideration. I need to get Norris out of there. I need to get Norris Stroll out of there for me to consider that. So I'm definitely doing like on my main team. This is 100% the move. It's just whether or not I buy Duan, Bortoleto, or Alonso, and I still have not decided. But I think honestly it might be Alonso. I'm less interested in Bortoleto. Just because a lot of people are getting Bortoleto, and like this is not a good track for rookies. On top of that, it looks like he has an issue, so he won't be able to do much in FP2, right? So I am put off Bortoleto, and also it's a bit of a differential going for Alonso. But then if Alpine look good, do I want to go for Duan? I think Alonso's a better long-term hold. I agree. But that's the thing, like with Bortoleto, I actually don't agree with Alonso's better long-term hold. I think Bortoleto is the best long-term hold because you can literally just hold him forever, and he's just like watch him get 2 points every single race from now until the end of time, get 2 DNFs until the end of the season, stays at 4.5 million for the rest of the year, and like he's just a good option, right? Whereas Alonso will fluctuate more. But surely, like Alonso's due a good race. I know that's not how it works, but at least those DNFs are behind him now. So I think I'm also leaning Alonso. I think this will be my team, but I could be persuaded into going for Duan instead of Alonso if Alpine actually look really fast. But Duan just didn't look like he had the longevity in the race in Bahrain. Like he looked good. He was like up on a P9, P10 at points. But then in the final stint, he just dropped like a rock. He dropped like 6 positions in the final stint. So maybe that's his inexperience with managing the tires showing. And with it being a softer compound this week, both from Bahrain but also from last year in Saudi, I believe, managing the tires might be more important. So don't get me wrong, I would love to have Gasly. I just don't think Gasly's an option for me with this team. If I'm like, okay, I really need Gasly, like what do I even do? Do I keep Haas for another race? I do this. But then like Gasly's also not increasing in price this race. Like even if he gets a 13-pointer, which he got from getting P7 last week, he's only increasing 0.2 million. So anything worse than that, he's just not increasing in price. So the thing with Gasly, like sure, he might get some points, but it feels like I feel like I can get him cheaper next week, no? So I think I just don't want to bother with trying to get Gasly. There's so many close calls on this track, man. People getting blocked. So I don't think it's worth it to switch up my strategy by going for Gasly, to be honest. I guess Limitless could be really good then on my other team. Let me log into my other account. So I could. I haven't talked about it that much in my main, like in my videos, but I mentioned it in China or before China, and after the Australian Grand Prix that I would be making a second account because my first week was so bad and my budget was so destroyed. I was like, I might as well, my budget building team 3. I might as well make a new account and use that as my budget building team. But actually, that team has already caught up to my main team, and it's ahead of my main team in the overall standings without scoring points in Australia, and it has higher budget. So it's actually like my best performing team right now, which is honestly crazy. Here is that team. I showed it on my Limitless video, which if you haven't watched, you should definitely go and check it out. Hello from Argentina. Welcome, Lucas. Meta but Merc to Ferrari is worth it because Ferrari always get the fastest pits. That's fair. I can't get it this week without doing a -10 on my main team. But okay, so on this team, is this limitless? Is this limitlessable? That is an adjective now. Is this limitlessable? Limitlessable. I don't know. I think this is limitlessable. Right? Because if anything's increasing in price, like Haas is guaranteed to increase in price, Piastri's guaranteed, Hadjar's almost guaranteed, Behrman's guaranteed. Obviously guaranteed, you know, bar DNF, but you can't really count towards that. Russell, increasing 0.1 guaranteed, but like the 0.3 is he needs to have like another podium finish to actually increase 0.3. And then Ocon is like decent, I guess. So I might want to be different with this team and actually go for the limitless here. I don't think it's that bad. It's definitely not an option on either of my other teams, but this is by far the best one. This team actually outscored the meta last weekend. I don't know if you guys realized, but this team actually outscored the meta team. Meta team scored like what, 286, and this scored 295. So it's not by a lot, but it did outscore them. Hello, what do you think? Russell, McLaren, and Ferrari, or Piastri, McLaren, and Mercedes? I think okay, so the problem with Russell, McLaren, Ferrari is that you're not getting Mercedes points, right? You're like but to be fair, it kind of works because it's Russell and Antonelli's like not expected to get that many points. So I guess that kind of works. I think it's close. Though I think Piastri is better than Russell, so I would still say Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes is better. And at least Piastri is guaranteed to increase 0.3, whereas Russell is not. So maybe that gives you some budgets. That's because Kimi got messed up by the safety car. Kimi did get messed up by the safety car, but like Kimi's also been very lucky this season as an asset. And those who've had Kimi Antonelli have been very lucky because he got a random driver of the day in China. Like obviously his Australia was amazing, but the China driver of the day was super lucky and totally undeserved. He should have been on 19 points here. And then in Japan, he randomly got the fastest lap by like just a few thousands over Norris. So this could have also just been 13 points, and that would have been a terrible weekend. So I think Kimi Antonelli has been very lucky, and I think like when you actually look at his performances, he's overperformed like his expected points. I think his expected points is going to be like below 20 every week. But yeah, so let's talk about this team, right? Because on my other team, just watch my team selection video, and that explains everything. But basically, the question there is just, do I go for Alonso, or do I go for Bortoletto, or do I go for Doohan? But this team is way more interesting. One, because it's actually ahead, and I mean, look at the budget of this team, by the way. Have you seen anything this disgusting? 109.5 million. I don't know how many people are here. I haven't even looked at the streaming numbers once, which is kind of funny. 53 people here. That's more than I expected, to be fair. If you're here in chat right now, please just type what your budget is, because I would love to know where my team that I started in China is compared to everyone else. So just type your budget in chat. I would love to know. 109, 109.3. Okay, people are and all. I assume all of you actually have this from Australia then. 110.4. Whoosh. 109.1. I also started in China. Okay, team 1 is now 108.8, 108.9. 108 to 109.5. Yeah, Australia. 110.7. Damn. 107. Also, while you're typing in chat, guys, can you like the stream? That's actually okay. That's higher than I thought. A few people are already above 110. That's rather incredible. Okay, so this team that I have here, I'll show you the timeline for this team. Started this in China, so didn't play Australia. Started with 100 million in China, because all my teams on my other account started 107.4 after Australia was at 98.2. Yeah, Joe, I'm very similar on my like main account that I started in Australia. Like all of my teams were at 98 point something, and now I'm at 107 million. So I started with a new team with McLaren Williams with like all the assets that increase in price. And then in Japan, I had this team, so I went for Haas because Haas were going to increase in price.
And then in this team, I haven't taken any minuses. I still have my wild card. So this team is just looking really good, and I think this might be limitlessable. So if I'm gonna be different from my main team, because this team is ahead of my main team, it's just not ahead by that much. So I might as well play differently and limitless in Saudi with this team, and then limitless in Imola, which was my plan originally with my main team, and see which turns out well. And if like 3 people crash in the Saudi Grand Prix, I can just bin this account off and never worry about it again, right? What's your ranking global with this team? Like 200k, but my main team is like 300 something. This team is 216,000. Started in China, and my main team is like 300,000. So I'm actually ahead, which is kind of funny. It's kind of sad, but you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. Sonoda 4th, Verstappen 7th. So if I'm limitlessing with this team, like, what do I go for then? That's what I need to figure out, because I think the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm just talking myself into actually using limitless with this team. Because, like, I already have Haas. After this, I will have a lot of budget with this team. I can move on. Behrman is increasing, Hadjar's increasing, Piastri's increasing, Russell's probably increasing. Ocon probably not. Maybe 0.2 actually. What's Ocon's 0.2 million? Ocon is 10 points for a plus 2.2 million increase, which is kind of disgusting to be fair. But then I can go for something like Gasly next race, right? If Gasly has a good race again in Saudi, and not a lot of people will have Gasly, so it's not even like I'm missing out on that if we think Gasly's going to be the best of the rest. If planning on Limitless and Imola, would you rather have this team or... We need to finish that comment. So we are not doing McLaren versus Mercedes. Okay, I'm following your picks. Well, this is not... Lucas, this is not my main team. So, on this team, because I have Russell in here, I might Limitless, but my main team is entirely different. I'll bring it up again. I hate that I can't be logged into 2 different accounts. I have to... when I log into my second screen on this account, this one switches. I don't know what to do about that, but that's just how it works, I guess. If planning on Limitless, would you rather have this team or Piastri, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Baron, Ocon? Oh, so just the meta team for this week. If you're planning on Limitless, like, okay, so if you're not Limitlessing, you shouldn't have the team I just showed you with Haas, right? So this is on my main team. I'm not limitlessing here because Norris is super unlikely to increase 0.3 million. Stroll is not likely to increase at all. So on this team, I'm 100% doing Piastri, Mercedes, and then either Bortoleto or whatever. Open an incognito tab and log into different accounts. That actually might be the way, CJ. I'll try that on I'll try that on this. F1 Fantasy. Which team is this? Okay, so... Oh, that does work. Thank you, CJ. Actually, lifesaver. I don't have to log back in and out. Okay, so we have an incognito tab here. So now I can just switch between them depending on which one I'm talking to. So this team performed really well because they had Piastri, Russell. So I think because I have Piastri in there, I have Russell in there, I might limitless on this team. This team is not like this team is not limitlessable. Like, not at all. It's limitless is actually a terrible decision for this team. So again, this team is 100% doing this, and then I'm just getting one out of the 3 options I have, and I haven't decided which one that is, and I probably won't until like the deadline stream tomorrow. I'm more and more put off Bortoleto, to be fair. Sorry if I'm screaming into the mic. I'm more and more put off Bortoleto. It's just if it's Duan or Alonso. I probably want to go for Alonso. It's just that if Alpine are really fast, I might be interested in Duan. It's just that everyone already has Jack Duan, right? And that seems kind of
icky. I don't know. But for Imola, I don't know what the team is. So if you're planning a Limitless for Imola, this week you should have something like the team that CJ Wink just talked about, which is like this team, right? Or this team. This is probably the best team in Saudi Arabia, non-Limitless. And like if you can't afford Ocon here, just whatever, like move this team to your liking. But you have a few options. I think Piastri, Behrman, Hadjar, McLaren, Mercedes are going to be on every team, and that is like the team that you should have if you're not on a Limitless. And then the other two options are, you know, whichever ones you want. If you're already say you went into this weekend with the meta team, because I know a lot of you are on the meta team. So you would be on this team, right? This is your team right now. You could afford to go for like Pierre Gasly as a little punt instead of Ocon, if you think Pierre Gasly is going to outscore him this week. And then you can choose to stay with Doohan, or you can use your other transfer to downgrade Doohan to Bortoleto if you have to, if you need to upgrade to Gasly. Or you could upgrade Doohan to Alonso. Oh yeah, I would have enough to do that, but it's just I don't have enough transfers to get to this. But I think something like this is going to be your team for this week if you're on the meta team already and you don't want a Limitless. It's just that I'm slightly behind, right? Yeah, thank you for the budget checks, guys. I appreciate seeing it. Yeah, the incognito tab. So yeah, there are options, but this team is interesting because I'm ahead, and like I already have Piastri, I have Russell, I have Haas. The thing I wouldn't Limitless if you're on. Okay, let me get the meta team back. Wait, do I have the meta team on anything? I think yeah. My team 2 here, my team 2 on my main account has the meta team. It's just that I have Bortoleto instead of Ocon, instead of Behrman for some reason. Oh yeah, because I couldn't afford it. We're not going with meta. We are going with meta. Meta is the way. I'm just saying that if you're already on the meta, I wouldn't Limitless either. I think the only team that can Limitless, or the optimal team to Limitless, is what I have on this account. Wait, where is it? Nope. I'm trying to find the... Oh, here it is. Lol. This is the best team to Limitless with. And I have it. So the reason why the meta team doesn't want to Limitless is because you don't have a B tier constructor. I'm sorry if I'm confusing everyone by switching between two different teams here, but if this is your team from last week, I don't think Limitless is optimal, because like Ocon and Doohan don't look like it's increase, and Mercedes is only increasing 0.3 million. So in this case, if you're on this team already, if you're on the meta team, just switch to like Alonso plus Gasly and just call it a day. Or you know, you could also go for Gabriel Bortoleto. Or if you don't want to sell Ocon, that's also fine. I think Ocon could be a long-term hold. It's just that Gasly looks really good, so if you want to get Gasly, you can get Gasly. I think that's what you do if you have the meta team. I think that's the transfers you make. You just move these around and call it a day. Probably just make one transfer, so you have 3 transfers into Yes, you want 3 transfers in. A lot of people took hits, so I don't think a lot of people only made 1 transfer last week. A lot of people used all their transfers. So I would say that the optimal play next week, again, I'm just showing you what the meta team last week was. If you had this team last week, I think you make 1 transfer, so you have 3 transfers in Miami, and you can do whatever you want with those 3 transfers. And I think you either do something like Jack Doohan to Alonso or to Bortoleto, or you do Ocon to Gasly. I think that's the move you make. Correct, CJ. Prepare for Limitless, yeah. Ocon instead of Bortoleto, he can lose 0.6. Ocon can lose 0.6, but I think Ocon is very likely to drop 0.2. Like I don't listen. I don't think Ocon is getting negative points this week, unless he crashes, obviously. But then everyone who DNFs is gonna drop 0.6. That's just how it works. So I think Ocon is very likely to be on like 4 or 5 points and just drop 0.2 million, which is fine. Like that's not the end of the world, especially since Ocon is such a good driver for points, that he could be a long-term hold for the season. Would you go for Lawson instead of Dune if you had the budget? Probably not this week. Probably not this week, no. Because, Lawson could actually decrease 0.6 million, because Lawson could easily be on a 4-pointer and just decrease 0.6 million. I would be interested in getting Lawson in Miami if he scores decently well in round 5. But just that -4 that he has from round 3 is really bringing him down. So I could easily see Lawson drop to 6.6 million next week, in which case he's a really good option. But I feel like if you go for a Lawson now, you're ahead of yourself. Whereas, look at someone like Gasly, right? Gasly can definitely reach 4 points, meaning that he's only decreasing 0.2 million this week. And I think that's, if your asset decreases 0.2 million, that's fine. You can't really play around that every single week, especially not if they have a really good one previously. But I think you should try and play around the 0.6 drops. Do we have to put a B tier constructor for Miami to prepare for Imola? You don't have to, but I think that could be the play, right? If you watch sprint qualifying. Okay, let's talk about someone who has the meta team, because a lot of people have the meta team. All right, you have this team right now. You do one transfer. Let's say you keep Ocon. Let's say you just do Doohan to Fernando Alonso just because, right? So this is your team going into Miami. In Miami, you have 3 free transfers, and your plan is to Limitless and Imola. You watch the sprint qualifying and see that, let's say, Alpine have really, really good overtaking potential. Gasly have good points potential. So you do 3 free transfers in Miami. You get Alpine in instead of Mercedes. You pick whichever one of these look bad. Let's say Ocon looks bad, and you just upgrade the team to whatever assets look likely to increase in price. Say Piastri still looks good, you stick with Piastri, and then you maybe go for Pierre Gasly plus. This could be George Russell if George Russell looks guaranteed to increase, but you actually want to go for points. You could definitely go for Russell here. Or if it's something like if there are obvious drivers that are going to increase in price, you could definitely leave 13.5 million on the table and then prepare maybe a free hit, or maybe a final fix chip. So you could do this, and then in Miami you final fix Ocon to Russell to get the points of Russell in the sprint race, something like that. So you do this, and then you suddenly have a team with assets that everyone's going to increase in price in Imola, and you Limitless in Imola. I have Norris, Hadjar, Ocon, Behrman, and Stroll with McLaren and Haas. The best option is to switch Piastri, Bortoleto, and Mercedes and hit them -10. I think probably Norris, Hadjar, Ocon, Behrman, and Stroll. Yeah, I mean, what you also could do, Felix, if you don't want to do the -10, I think the important thing is to get rid of Norris. I think you can definitely rock with McLaren Haas for a few more races, especially if you're considering limitlessing in Imola, like I've talked about this entire time. Right, if you don't want to do the -10 this week, you could just do. So what was your team? You had Norris, Hadjar, Ocon, Behrman, Stroll. Hadjar, Ocon, Behrman, Stroll. Yes, you have my team, but you don't have 3 free transfers. Okay, what you could do this week is you get Piastri in there, you switch Stroll to. If you can afford Russell, you do, but maybe you don't. Maybe don't have the money for it, because I don't have the money for it. But if you have the money for it, you could go for Russell. But what you could also just pick anything here, right? I would probably go for Pierre Gasly. You leave 12 million in the bank, it's fine, whatever. You rock this team in Saudi, and then in Miami, you have an extra transfer to do whatever. You keep Haas in there, everything's good, jolly, whatever. And then you Limitless, and then after that, you move out of Haas. So either you do the -10 to get Mercedes in, or you this week, or you rock with Haas until after Miami. Check the FP2 times now. Yeah, I haven't been looking at that for a while. Sainz, Tsunoda, Russell, Leclerc, Gasly, Hulkenberg. I haven't been paying attention to the free practice for a bit while I've been yapping about this. Doing 17th. Bortoleto, yeah, he had a problem. Verstappen 3rd. Okay, so if you're limitless this week, you definitely go for Verstappen now. 28.3. What was last year's pole time? Can anyone look up what last year's pole time was? Red Bull over Ferrari, maybe, yeah.
We'll see what it looks like. I can't wait for the post FP2 simulations from Ryther on F1 Fantasy Tools. I wasn't a meta from the beginning because it's my first F1 Fantasy. I didn't know about budget building. I have McLaren, V-Carb, Piastri, Hadjar, Behrman, Ocon, Duan, and around 103.2 million budget. What do you recommend? That budget is rough, to be fair. I think you can't really afford. You barely can afford McLaren and Mercedes with that team. I think when you're like a below 105 million, I think you just kind of have to bite the points hit for 2 races. I mean, V-Carb is... I would probably switch V-Carb to one of the better looking assets in terms of the C tiers. I think probably Alpine or Haas, right? And then you stick with the rest. You can switch Duan to Alonso if you want, but like you have Hadjar, Behrman, Ocon. And then you just stick with that until Miami, Limitless, and Imola. And then after Monaco, you switch to like McLaren, Ferrari or something. Or like McLaren, Mercedes, depending on what looks the best. It's tough. I want to switch out from Duan to Bortoleto. You could do that. That's totally fine. I mean, Duan is not dropping in price. Most likely I want to Limitless and Imola, but right now my problem is I have the meta team about with Red Bull. And I don't know what to do right now because I want to have 3 transfers in Miami. Any advice? So what? Wait, what's your team then? You have meta team, but with Red Bull. So you have this, Duan, and Red Bull Racing. Is that correct? Is that correct, Merab? I mean, you could literally just, if you want 3 transfers in Miami. I mean, either you just stick with this team, just downgrade Duan to like Bortoleto or something, and don't lose the budget on him. I want to switch out from Duan to Bortoleto. I mean, the thing is, Red Bull look fine, right? Sure, you might lose some points to Mercedes if Mercedes outscore them, but right now they're performing decently in free practice. So you could totally stick with Red Bull Racing for another race. It's not the end of the world. What's their... I mean, they're definitely reaching 2 points. So it's completely fine to rock with Red Bull for another race. Yeah, that's the team. Okay, yeah. First of all, impressive budget. But second of all, just I would just do the Duan to Bortoleto move, and then you can do the 3 transfers in Miami. Rock with Red Bull for this race. I mean, Verstappen can always pop up with a freak Q3 time and just take a podium, right? Pray for Max Magic. I think that's totally reasonable. And you protect yourself against some budget loss as well. Hope that Ocon only decreases 0.2 million. Seems good. Seems good to me. Alright, hold on. I need to look up. Saudi GP pole time 2024. Max Verstappen did a 1:27.4. That was on harder tires though. I think they've picked softer tires for this race this year, so it should drop below 1:27 if the track is optimal. So they're not really even close to that at the moment. Whoa. Lots of wall touching going on. I mean, Final Fix of Miami is so great thing. I think you can make a video about it. I think honestly, like I literally just said it, but I think it could be really good, right? Because if you let me just go back to the is this all right? So this is my team with all the budget. Say you right now have the meta team. Bonk. Oh, that's a solid hit against the wall. Is that Antonelli? Poof. Yep. Yeah, alright, so if you're on meta team, this week again, what I just said, you either do Ocon to Gasly or you do Duan to Alonso or Bortoleto, whatever.
next week to prepare for Limitless and Imola. This is the secret tech, right? You get... I'm going to pick Alpine now because Gasly looks good. But you obviously watch the sprint qualifying and pick whichever one. It could even be Williams, right? You pick whichever cheap B-tier constructor that looks the best after sprint qualifying in Miami. You then upgrade one of them to probably, let's say, Gasly. I don't know, whichever asset looks good. And then you can use another thing if you want. But then you use the final fix after the deadline. So after the sprint race. Or after the qualifying. You probably actually stick... No, you probably want the qualifying points for the main assets. Yeah, so after the sprint, you final fix like Ocon to George Russell. And you're actually giga cooking. Because then you still get the budget for Ocon because the team reverts back to what it was prior to final fixing. And then you Limitless. That is the strat. Why do you think Haas, for the sake of or for that sake, Alpine is better than VCarb? I think Haas is better because they're way more likely to... They just... History has shown this season that Haas just has the race pace package. And they are all but guaranteed to increase in price, right? And for saying Alpine instead of VCarb is just that I think Gasly could actually get some points, get to Q3, stuff like that, whereas I think the VCarb doesn't look as fast here. Lawson has not really performed the VCarb yet. Hadjar has, for sure. But I think if you're betting on any of the cheap assets to reach Q3, I think you would bet on Gasly based on just the form he's shown so far this weekend and last weekend. So that's why I think Alpine, because I think Alpine could outscore VCarb and Haas. Obviously, like Haas giga outscored them in round 4, but that was a freak accident. I don't think that's likely to happen again. So it's literally just because I rate Gasly that I think Alpine is better than VCarb and Haas. But I think you could go for Haas as well. And that's the thing. Like I think all of them are pretty close. It's just that I think Alpine has that X factor Gasly, which VCarb doesn't have. Because like you got to remember that VCarb technically has 2 rookies with Lawson and Hadjar now, and this track is unforgiving. So I would rather not go for VCarb, to be honest. I would kind of avoid it here. Ocon and Behrman isn't an option for Imola, I think, because Bahrain points won't count in Imola. That's fair. You would be right. It would completely depend on what they do it would completely depend on what they do in Miami. So if we think about that for a second, I think this weekend is trying to avoid DNFs for me. I think this weekend is trying to avoid DNFs for everyone. Thoughts on Piastri, McLaren, Ferrari instead of Mercedes gives me a differential team as well. I think it's good, Pranav. I think it's really good. I can't reach to that this week without taking hits, and then I don't think it's worth it. So if you can reach it for free, or with free transfers, I think it's a good differential pick that could pay off. But let's bring that back the meta team on this one, right? And let's discuss it further. So, again, most people have this. Let's assume Ocon and Behrman. So this is a really good point from Merab, actually. So the round 4 points will not count in Imola. Meaning that all of these high points are going to be gone. Ocon especially, because if Ocon uses this 15-pointer to increase in price either this week, if he scores above 10, and especially if he scores above 10, like in Miami, he looks really likely to increase in price, right? Ocon is going to be really expensive. Ocon is going to be above 10 million. If even like Ocon decreases 0.2 million and then increases 0.6 million in Miami, Ocon's looking at a 9.9 price, which means that he's going to be close to dropping. Or no, 9.7 million, which means that he has to keep scoring high to keep increasing in price. So if we go into this, assuming that Behrman and Ocon won't be options for Miami, that changes things, right? Again, we're on the meta team. We assume we go to, let's just say we go to Portoletto. I think a lot of people are just doing to Portoletto, and I think that's, again, a totally reasonable move to make to preserve budgets. So we assume this is what we do, right? Or we say that this is what we do this week. One transfer, do an out to Portoletto. We get to Miami, and we see that, say, we need to pick people in Miami. The transfer we need to make are those that scored high in Saudi. So let's assume that's Gasly, right? And let's say Ocon scored low. Ocon decreased 0.2 million. He scored like 4 points. Sure, he has about 15 pointers, so he might increase in price in Miami, but he looks likely to drop in price in Imola, and that's not what we want on the Limitless. So then, with our 3 free transfers, again, we would need to sell Mercedes to, let's just say, Alpine. We sell Ocon to Gasly. And then we would have one more transfer to get either Behrman, Hadjar, or Bortoleto out to someone who scored high in Saudi, which makes sense. And then after that, we can still do the final fix to upgrade one of them to Russell. Especially if you keep Bortoleto and Hadjar in the team. Like, say Behrman did not score well. Say Behrman DNF'd even in Saudi, because obviously we need to get rid of the DNFers in Saudi. And we just go for, let's say, who would have had a good... Let's say Fernando Alonso had a great Saudi GP, and we have this team. Suddenly we can literally just final fix Bortoleto into George Russell. Or even, we can go even higher. Like, we can final fix into Leclerc. Like, we don't even have to go for Russell. We can final fix into any of the top guys after having a team like this. Especially because Alpine's cheaper than Haas and V-Carb. So that's also why I like Alpine. So you final fix in Miami, and you have a killer budget building team going into Imola. Unless you obviously had DNFs in Miami. And if you had DNFs in Miami, you just divert your strategy. Because this is going to revert after Miami. This will revert back to Bortoleto. So this is the team you will have in the back, right? You Limitless with this team. If these 4 or 5 assets don't look likely to increase in price, you just divert your strategy. And either you pick assets that look, just generally good. You go back to the meta team. You do this, and then you, I don't know, just upgrade, pick whoever did perform. Let's say Ocon is good again. Boom, you get Ocon, call it a day. You run this in Imola. You don't even bother about it. And then if it looks good, if this looks good for price increases, you could just go for the Limitless in Monaco with Mercedes in there and not get the plus 0.6 million. Or you could wait all the way to Spa and Hungary, which I talked about in my Limitless video. I think that's a strategy. I think the final fix in Miami looks really, really, really fun. I think I might have just messed up the thing. No, okay. Ferrari plus Bortoleto combo versus Haas plus Russell for Limitless in Miami. If you're Limitlessing in Miami, I would keep Haas for this week. I would have Haas plus Russell. Because Ferrari's increasing short, but Ferrari's increasing 0.3 million. Bortoleto's not changing the price. Russell's almost guaranteed to increase 0.1 million, has a chance for 0.3, and Haas is guaranteed to increase 0.6. Obviously, bar DNFs, but whenever I say that an asset is guaranteed to rise in price, I obviously mean if they don't DNF. Have 0 cap with Meta, but Bortoleto and Hadjar are best option for Saudi. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you mean, Jim. Do you have Bortoleto now, or do you go for Bortoleto? I think this year Monaco Limitless is a scam because of the new tire strategy. Maybe. I think Monaco in general is just a scam. But I think it's an option, right? But I think Imola is better. Thoughts on 3x in Miami with Piastri, Russell, and McLaren? Not bad. You could definitely... You could go for it if you I would say with the 3x, because obviously later in the season you might be sitting on Norris plus Piastri if McLaren are still dominant, and that's going to be better But I will say, if you look at the sprint qualifying, and Piastri's like 7th or 8th, and Russell's also like 7th or 8th, that seems like a killer move. Yeah, I also think 3x. 3x is definitely best for Kota, Brazil, or Qatar. I think 3x is optimal in one of those 3 later weekends. But if you're sitting on this team, right, that I have right here, if you have this team, and then you check the sprint qualifying, and Piastri and Russell, oh, yellow flag, what's happened? Oh, that's a front wing. Oh, it's a Red Bull. Oh, Yuki, no, 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 no. Ay, ay, ay. That's red flag. I don't think they'll resume that. That car is smashed. Yikes. Yeah, that's some damage right there. Uh-oh, Yuki. Not good. Dude, the second Red Bull curse continues. Second Red Bull seat curse. Sorry I got quiet, I'm just looking at the free practice too. Well, the curse continues. Red Bulls don't usually like that corner at all. Well, even less so now. Alright, here we go. Turn 27. Oh, yep. Yeah, he touched the left front on the inside and just, yep, broke the suspension. No negative within Jeddah. I would save no negative for Spa or Brazil personally. Okay, so there have obviously been single race weekends like Australia where the no negative has been insane value. But I think you lose so much with budget anyway. Oh, it doesn't look like he goes that fast, but that car just gets smashed. Anyway, I'm of the opinion that no negative should always be used in sprint weekends because there's more races and more sessions, more risk for DNFs. Yeah, I mean, there's no way they resume this session. Oh well, unlucky for Yuki. Sorry that I got quiet, but I mean, you gotta watch the FP2 when the crashes happen, right? What was I talking about? I was talking about 3x in Miami, right? I think if you're sitting on this team that I have right here, and the sprint qualifying is like Piastri P7, Russell P8, just pop it. But other than that, not really. I think I'll Limitless on this team. But what were the final FP2 standings? We had Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Tsunoda, Russell, Gasly, Hulkenberg 9th, Hamilton all the way down in 13th. Okay, so I do think the optimal Limitless is McLaren plus either Mercedes or Ferrari, and then you go for Norris, Piastri, Russell. Okay, I mean, both McLarens are obvious there, so probably not Lewis, right? It's probably Leclerc or Verstappen, right? So you do this plus McLaren, and then either Mercedes or Ferrari? Bonk. Yeah, they're just replaying the crash. I think this is the team for Limitless. No? Hamilton's struggling a lot. Yeah, that's the thing. But if I Limitless, it's more fun going for Ferrari because people don't have it, right? If I go for Mercedes, like, a lot more people are on it. Who do you 2x, though? If you're 2xing, do you 2x Lando or Piastri? Norris is ahead, and, like, everyone has Piastri, so you definitely earn more on the delta if you pick Lando Norris and he outperforms Piastri. Yeah, Brazil's always rainy as hell. Yeah, Spa's always rainy as hell as well. That's what I mean. Like, I think Brazil last year was incredible for no negative as well. So I think no negative is by far best used and optimally used in sprint weekends. So I've almost already locked in that I'm using no negative in Spa or Brazil, whichever one looks the worst. If Spa looks raining, I'm popping it. Like, there's no reason I'm saving it. And also, even if Brazil looks sunny, because Cota's already happened, right? So it's Brazil and then it's Qatar. Qatar is not that dangerous a track unless your name is Romain Grosjean. Are you going Limitless? Feel like Jed is going to be beautiful to younger drivers? Yes. Yeah, so the reason why I might be going for Limitless on this team, not on my main team, this team, is because I have the most optimal team you could have in the back, right? Obviously, like, if you had an additional B tier constructor, that would be better. But, you know, the optimal realistic team. Hadjar, Behrman, a good B tier constructor. Piastri, Russell, best A tiers for increases. Ocon has at least a chance to not decrease the maximum. So I think I'm going Limitless on this team. I think I'm Limitlessing on this team. Not on this team though, for sure not. Are they actually going out again? Everyone's super ready to send everyone out. That seems very optimistic that they will get this session resumed. Yeah, session stopped. Yeah, probably for practice starts. Yeah, just to practice start. Yeah, but there was no way they were getting everyone out like that. There's still half of Yuki Tsunoda's car is still in the wall, right? Yeah, session stopped. Unlucky. What? Green flag? Oh, okay, they're allowed to do the just to practice starts. Interesting. Well, I did not think they would do that. So they said session stopped, but like green flag, everyone go out. That's really funny. What's the best team for Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes? Yeah, we've talked about that a bit. But it's basically... Let me just get that team up and rolling. If you're on the meta team, which I know, again, a lot of you are, the best thing to do this week is to just use one transfer and sell either Ocon or Doohan. You either go Ocon to Gasly if you think Gasly's going to cook, or you go Doohan to Alonso or Bortoletto. You could also not use a single transfer. So you do have a few options on which way to take this team. But I think the best team is, I mean, this is the best team. And then the other two is whatever you can afford / whatever you want. Whoever you back. If you think Alonso's going to absolutely cook on this track because he historically does so, you can go for Alonso. If you do think Gasly is going to, take that FP1 time that he did and, replicate that in Q3, you can go for Gasly. But I would say definitely save a transfer. definitely save a transfer so that you are ready to restructure your team as necessary in Miami. So best team is to have a transfer left over and then something like this. And again, these final two could be. I don't think Lance Stroll is one of them, but it could be Gasly, Ocon. It could even be Lawson. I don't think you definitely don't pick Nicky Hulkenberg. It could be Alonso. It could be Doohan. It could be Bortoleto. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options for these final two, and I think there are pros and cons to each of them. What do you think about Nando? I think Fernando Alonso looks good. I think he's definitely one of the premier options for these final two slots in your team. Has Gasly done well in Saudi historically? I don't know. I don't think so, especially not last year. But last year, the Alpine was an absolute dustbin at this time of the season. Like, they were the 10th fastest team. Or, I guess, the slowest team on the grid. They were slower than Sauber at this point, even. So I don't remember what Gasly did historically. Saudi GP 2024. Pierre Gasly DNF'd last year. But I don't think he crashed. I think he was a mechanical DNF. Only Lance Stroll had a crash. So Gasly DNF'd last year. And in 2023... In 2023, with Alpine, Gasly got 9th. But the Alpine are a better car then. So Ocon was 8th, Gasly was 9th. They were kind of... actually up there. Yep. So, I guess Gasly has done decently. Yeah, Alonso has historically done well, yeah. Obviously in 2023 he got a podium. And last year in 2024, I think that was his best track. He got 5th. So Alonso definitely has a good history here. I think, like, points-wise, it's probably Gasly and Alonso that are the best. Risk-wise, it's probably Bortoleto to avoid price drops. Price increases? I mean... You tell me which one's best. I have no idea. I'm going to turn this off then. Alright, do we have any more questions? So, as for final thoughts... as for some final thoughts from my team. Okay, this is my team. Is this correct? Yeah, this is my team. I have 100% decided what I'm doing with this team. Okay, I haven't 100% decided. I've decided which route I'm taking this. This is going to be my team. I just don't know which the final driver is. I have 3 free transfers. It's between Doohan, Bortoleto, and Alonso. Right now, I'm leaning Alonso. But it could be Bortoleto. It could end up being Jack Doohan. We'll see after FP3 tomorrow and how I feel during the deadline stream. But this is probably what I do with my main team. For this other team that's actually ahead, remember this is the team, I'm probably using Limitless, so I'm on 2 different strategies with my 2 best teams. Limitless here, and then on my other team I'll probably Limitless in Imola. Just because this is a really good team to Limitless with. You can't really get a better Limitless team unless you like actually did something stupid like, unless your team was something like this. But, like, no one has this team, right? No one has a team like this. So, the most realistic team to Limitless with is this team. So, I think I'm popping Limitless on this team. And I think I am... Yeah, I'm doing this on this team. So, those are my final thoughts. Any other final questions before I tune out? Live stream this early? Yeah, I was going to do a final thoughts video, but I thought I'll do it live during FP2 instead. Bortoleto DNF could happen. Bortoleto didn't do any time in FP2 because he had some issue with the car. The Aston's kind of cheeks though, might do Gasly over Alonso. I can't afford it. So the thing is with this team is to afford to get Piastri and Mercedes, the only way to get Gasly is to sell Ocon. But then I can't, because here I had Lance Stroll, so like I can't. I would have to take a -10 to get Gasly in there, and I don't think that's worth it. So I'd rather just keep Ocon. Why Limitless and Imola? Tracer, click my channel, and literally the last video I posted is the optimal Limitless strategy. So if you want to see why Imola, watch that video. It's like 18 minutes of Limitless goodness. I posted it yesterday. In my opinion, it's one of the better videos I've done. But yeah, I would like the FP2 sims out to come out, but yeah, I'll check it out. No problem, Tracer. No problem. I don't know where the FP2 sims are at. I would like to stick around for it, but I probably can't. I have work tomorrow morning early. But for final thoughts, for my team, I've already discussed it. It's either Doohan, Bortoleto, or Alonso. Limitless, possible with this team, and I probably will do it. If you are on the... I will say this a final time. If you are on the meta team, where's Doohan? If you have the meta team, the optimal thing to do if you have the meta team this week is to either sell Doohan or Ocon. You definitely keep Piastri, Hadjar, Behrman, McLaren, Mercedes. You have 2 free transfers because most people switched to the meta, even taking -10s or -20s last week. So I would imagine most people only have 2 free transfers available. I think it's really important that you save so you have an extra transfer in Miami, so you only use 1. Your options are to either sell Ocon to Pierre Gasly, or you keep Ocon and sell Doohan to either Bortoleto, Fernando Alonso, maybe Liam Lawson, right? Depending on what you can afford. Or you could also choose to do nothing and just keep this team. I think Doohan and Ocon are perfectly fine assets. I think the meta team this week is going to be these 5 assets plus 2. And out of these 2, you essentially have 6 drivers to choose from. It's Pierre Gasly. I don't think Stroll is an option. I don't think Albon and Sainz aren't options because they're too expensive. And also, Sainz at a DNF, so even if you can't afford him, I don't think you go for him. Yeah, so Lance Stroll's not an option. You either go for Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, Fernando Alonso, Jack Doohan, or Bortoleto. Those 6 assets, because you definitely don't get Hulkenberg, right? Those 6 assets are your options for these final 2, and you pick whichever ones you can afford / you can get to. You definitely don't take a -10 to get an extra transfer in there. If you, for like me, right? Sure, Gasly looks good, but I'm just gonna say I'm happy with Ocon, right, and get Alonso or Doohan or Bortoleto in there and call it a day. Like, don't take a -10 to make an extra transfer between these two. Don't use up an extra transfer. Save a transfer because you're going to want to have 3 free transfers in Miami so that you can set up for a potential monster Limitless in Imola or Monaco. So I think that's good. Bortoleto might DNF and have negative points. Sure, he might DNF and have negative points, but like, at least he won't decrease in price. If not Mercedes, Williams, or Haas. Don't know what you mean there, just a button. Haas not looking great. I think I'm going to sell Ocon or Doohan for Bortoleto or Alonso. See, that's just what I said. You can do whichever way you want to with these assets, but I do think Hadjar, Behrman, Piastri, McLaren, and Mercedes are the picks this week, and I think everyone will have them on their team, unless you actually go for sort of Limitless strategy here. And again, if you don't know why you should Limitless this week or why you should Limitless in a single race weekend, check my Limitless guide. It is the latest video I posted on my channel. I will be here for the deadline stream tomorrow. So tomorrow, the deadline stream will be 2 hours before the deadline stream will be 2 hours before the deadline. What your time is local, I don't know. For me, I think that's 5 p.m. Central European time. So join me for that. I'll make all the final decisions then. But for now, these are my final thoughts heading into this race weekend. I will leave you with one more thing. If you're watching this at the end and just joined after Free Practice 2, I think there's a really, really good opportunity to use Final Fix in Miami if you're setting up for a Limitless play in Imola. And what I mean by that is that let's just assume that you have two of the regular options here. Let's say this is your team in Saudi. You get to Miami and you want to set up your team for a good Limitless. So you sell Mercedes to one of the cheap constructors. Let's assume Alpine for now. And then you sell whichever one of these assets you want to. Again, you have 3 free transfers. So you can sell Ocon and Alonso, or you can sell Behrman. Whatever you want. You can do literally whatever you want with 3 free transfers. Just make sure you get one of the cheap constructors in there, so you set up for a good Limitless play in Imola. But for now, let's assume that this is the optimal team. The optimal 4 cheap drivers. And then you have Alpine in there. You only have Alpine in here because they're going to increase 0.6 million, and after they increase 0.6 million in Miami, they'll increase 0.6 million in Imola, and you Limitless in Imola, so you gain their budget since you get the budget of your team in the back. That's how that works. And as you can see here, with this team, you have a cost cap of 18.3 million, meaning after the sprint race, before the qualifying, which is when you can get a lot of points in this game from your premium assets, you Final Fix in Miami to sell either Alonso or Ocon. Say you sell Ocon, up to literally anyone. I mean, look at the budget I have. You can get Leclerc, you can get Hamilton, you can get George Russell. And then you have this team Final Fixed, meaning that after the Final Fix is over and the Miami Grand Prix weekend is over, this will revert back to Ocon. And then you Limitless in Imola with a fantastic budget building team if everything has gone according to plan and you didn't have any DNFs in Miami. So I think the Final Fix play is really, really strong in Miami. I'll probably talk about that in my videos going forward for those of you that are looking to set that up. But for now, unless the FP2 sims are out, I haven't thought of Final Fix in Miami. Yeah. So unless the FP2 sims are out, I'll probably end the stream pretty soon. But it's not Final Fix to gain a little bit of budget. It's Final Fix to get good points. So obviously you have 3 free transfers, meaning that you can look at the sprint qualifying and you see that, oh, let's say Liam Lawson is starting P20 in the sprint race. You get Liam Lawson so that he can gain a bunch of positions in the sprint, get some overtakes, actually look like a good asset, right? But then you don't want Liam Lawson for the actual race. Well, you just Final Fix Liam Lawson out for one of those, high drivers. Maybe Ferrari looks good and you get Charles Leclerc in there on the Final Fix, and then suddenly you have Charles Leclerc's points for the qualifying and the race points, meaning that you probably get a good solid points for him qualifying P3 or whatever, and then also in the race. So yeah, FP2 sims do take a couple of hours usually. They've been fast with it before, but I don't think that's going to happen. So for now, I'm going to end stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This was a bit impromptu. It's just I didn't have time to actually record a final thoughts video, so these will be my final thoughts. If you want to go back and watch it at 2x speed, you can do so. I think I talked about a lot of different interesting things throughout these streams runtime. I will see you tomorrow for the deadline stream, 2 hours before the deadline, 2 hours before qualifying starts. Do not miss it. And then I'll see you next week for some more videos heading into the sprint weekend of Miami, which should be an interesting one F1 fantasy wise. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. If you haven't liked the stream, make sure you do so right now. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm gonna sign off now as I have to be at work at like 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So see you around. Thank you for hanging out. Bye bye.